Julian, I was meant to remind you about that, wasn't I?
Doesn't matter. So it's an essential, CX is an essential skill, delivers return on investment, increased shareholder value. It's important to everybody in the organization. And right now it's a game changer. Companies that deliver great CX are going to be remembered for a long time by their customers. And companies that don't, unfortunately, will also be remembered for a long time. CX is simple to understand, very difficult to deliver it though. So that's what we're here to help you do. It's all about breaking down silos within companies, communicating values and many, many different aspects, but we're here to help with that. And technology is great, but the human touch is greater. So we absolutely see the importance of investing in technology, but the importance of investing in your people and in your human beings who work for you. Customers really appreciate it and they never lose that. So that's so important. And these courses are globally recognized. So it's really important for your careers and for the companies you work for, and you've been chosen by your companies or you've paid for it out of your own pockets. So they're really valuable to you as globally recognized qualifications. Just to talk to you about customer experience, I know some of you are familiar, some of you may be more advanced than this, but just to get to basics, it's all about how customers feel. It's about all of the interactions you have with your organizations. It's an emotional thing. On the left, we have customer service, which is functional. It's all the things that are meant to work and all the things that are really a given. And on the right, we have how customers feel. So it's all about, are they happy? Are they confused? Are they like unhappy? Are they angry? Or are they just not interested with the delivery and the experience they're getting with the company they're dealing with? So customer service and customer experience, two very different things. What does it do for you? It really differentiates you from your competitors. Banks, insurance companies, telcos, many, many different companies have kind of vanilla offerings these days. We call it sameness. It's this concept of sameness. Everybody has the same type of offering. And to really differentiate yourself is difficult. But customer experience and the way you deal with customers and their emotional bonds with you allow you to really differentiate that relationship. Customers will stay longer with you, so increased retention. They'll buy more and they'll buy more often too. And also the fundamental aspect of CX is about advocacy. So it's about customers recommending you to others, their colleagues, their families, their friends, and it's all about acquisition through advocacy. So that's a really, really fundamental point of CX. It's very different to marketing. It allows you to reduce your cost to serve customers. Customers aren't contacting you with queries. They're not so angry. And it allows you to reduce cost to serve. It also improves staff motivation and retention. We're going to show you in a minute all about the CX framework, but all of the elements of the CX framework work equally well for employee experience as they do for customer experience. So it's really important to understand those benefits of CX as well. And finally, as we talked about a little bit earlier, increased profitability and shareholder value. All about bottom line stuff as well as all the other good things. So Siobhan's going to take us through pretty briefly the whole CX Academy framework. So over to you, Siobhan.
Thanks, Julian. So yes, this is the CX Academy framework, and some of you that have, I suppose, are a little bit more advanced through the certificate may already be familiar with this, but I'm just going to give you a quick overview. So this framework is based on thousands of pieces of research with customers to understand what is really important to them and what makes a really excellent customer experience that makes the customers, so happy that they're loyal, they're engaged, and that they're going to recommend you to others. And ultimately, that's what you want. That's what CX excellence is. So if you deliver on each of these 6 emotional drivers, that's what you have. You've that bond with your customers where they will come back to you, buy more, they'll recommend you to others, and ultimately all of that leads to increased customer advocacy, obviously, but also increased and sustainable business growth for each and every one of your businesses. So these emotional drivers, we have I trust you. I trust you is the most important emotional driver. And it is all about building trust in everything you do with me as a customer. So if we think about our own relationships, be it personal or professional, or the relationship between a customer and a company, trust is the foundation of that relationship. And you need that trust in order to build a relationship and to be, and if you think about yourself, we don't like to, and we don't want to do business with companies we don't trust. We have to build on that trust in everything we do. Then the next emotional driver is you know me. And that is actually the most impactful of the emotional drivers. And that is that you treat me like an individual, that you understand my needs, and that you deliver an experience that reflects that. That you're not just treating your customers as another number. How do you show that you really do understand their needs? And apparently, the one thing we all want to hear in life, so they say, more than anything, is our own name. But it's, you know me, is about more than just calling your customers by their name. It's showing that you recognize them, that you recognize the history they have with you and with your company, and that you're delivering an experience that really meets their needs. Then the next emotional driver that we have there is, if we just flip back,
Sorry, Siobhan.
no worries. So the next emotional driver that we have there is you make it easy. And that is, I call it the Ron seal of the emotional drivers. It's all about, it does what it says on the tin. It's that you make it easy for me as a customer to do business with you. We are all incredibly busy. We don't have time to spend wasting time dealing with companies unnecessarily. We want it to be smooth, we want it to be hassle-free, and we ultimately just want it to be easy. We just want it to work. And that's it. The best customer experiences are where it just works, where it's just smooth and slick. So that's you make it easy. Then we have you get me. And that is that you genuinely understand what it's like to be in my shoes, that you understand my emotions as a customer, that you understand my specific circumstances, and that you can really deliver an experience that again demonstrates that. It's about, I suppose, if you're to boil down to one word, it's about empathy. So being empathetic. And I think now more than ever in the current world we're living in, and with this crisis, this COVID crisis that we're all living through, now more than ever, empathy is so, so important. You deliver on your promise is the next emotional driver, and that is that you manage, meet, and exceed my expectations. So what do you as a company or as an individual within a company promise to deliver for your customers? And are we meeting that expectation? Are we delivering on that? And are we looking for opportunities where we can to exceed expectations? And those of you who are progressing in the course, may have come across some of the learnings around how customer experience is measured against our expectations. So when you walk into your local grocery store, you already have a set expectation of what that experience is going to be like. And if it doesn't meet that, you're going to be disappointed. So our expectations will continue to change, and our expectations will vary, and our expectations are continuing to rise as well. We're all, I suppose, exposed to so many different experiences in our daily lives. We have access to companies right across the globe, and not just locally. So it's really, really important that we understand our customers' expectations, and that we work to manage, meet, and exceed their expectations at every opportunity. Then the final emotional driver is you fix things. And that is, when things go wrong, you fix them brilliantly, is the definition. And unfortunately, it is a sad fact of life that things will go wrong sometimes. But it's not always about what goes wrong, but it's about how you deal with it that actually has the biggest impact on our customers. And if you think about yourself as a customer, when you have an issue with an organization that you're dealing with, ultimately, what do you want when you voice your concerns, or when you raise your issue or your complaint? You want them to listen to you. You want them to take accountability and ownership of it. And ultimately, you want them to fix it and put you back in the same position. But if they show that they listen to you, they value your feedback, and that they're acting on it, you feel valued as a customer. And that in turn increases customer loyalty. And there is research the world over that shows that if you fix issues really well, and fix things brilliantly, that you will actually increase customer loyalty as a result of that. So that's the 6 emotional drivers. And as we said, if you deliver on each and every one of those consistently, what you have is that real bond with your customers, where they're loyal, they're engaged, they'll buy more, they'll recommend you to others, and all of that, as I said, leads to business growth. So that's our CX framework.
Brilliant. And companies use this framework in different ways. Just to give you an idea, We have certain companies we work with who use it for everything. In other words, they use it for everything from HR to employing people. So they go through all of the framework when they're asking, questions at job interviews. They use it for benchmarking. They use it for dealing with customers, obviously, but they have it up on the walls in the company, and they use it everywhere. They use it right through the whole company. And other companies already have a framework which may be slightly different. So they maybe don't use it, but they maybe just use it for reference. So however you use the CX framework is up to you, but it can be used for everything, and it can be just used for reference. But it just needs to be understood, because these drivers are the things that really motivate customers.
Yeah, and where it works best is where it's really embedded within the organization, both the frontline staff, but also the support staff, and right across the organization. So we've worked with organizations to embed the framework, and where it's embedded in your measurement, in your training, even in your HR and your hiring practices, that's where it works best.
Yeah, absolutely. So my presentation has got a mind of its own today, Siobhan. I'm very sorry. So we set up a little bit of background about the academy. We set it up because there was a huge demand for skills and knowledge. There's a lack of qualifications. As I said earlier, these are proper qualifications, and they're great for your careers as well as for your companies. We're a global company. We're in over 40 countries now, and the results are immediate to see. So you can actually see and implement the results that you're learning really fast. These are just some of the experienced practitioners that we use, and we have used, and we have worked with in order to build our courses. Michael has worked for many years in the States with General Electric and other companies. Kathy has worked in the insurance industry for many years and with other industries as CX practitioner. Siobhan has worked in the banking sector and in other sectors as well, and is an immensely experienced CX practitioner. And my background is in digital and online and technology. So it's a great kind of sort of spread of knowledge. And for the diploma course and the certificate course, we do have other practitioners that we use constantly. So it's a real deep knowledge and a deep knowledge base that you're learning from. We also have an industry advisory council, which sits 4 times a year, and it is made up of representatives of these companies. So these companies we chose as being leaders in customer experience, and there are people who sit on our council and who their main job every year is to validate the content and make sure it's appropriate for what they would perceive as being a really good rounded knowledge of customer experience and how to embed customer-centric attitudes and values into companies. So from LinkedIn to Virgin, Google, IKEA, AXA, many of these absolutely work with us on a constant basis in order to get these courses right. You're in good company here. We have Oracle, we have Salesforce, we have Happy or Not, we have ING Bank. We have many, many, many graduates who have come through our courses and who are really happy with the courses. So it's a proper worldwide global outfit now. So it's really, really encouraging. And what we're trying to do is set a standard, and what we're managing to do is to start to set the global standard for customer experience qualifications. So it's really, really important. And to put it into context, what we've done is, just to give you an idea of what went into making the courses, this is literally the way our courses started. This is the way our certificates started. There's Siobhan and our course designer, Gary Clear. And we're literally outputting the brains of all of our professionals that we work with onto paper and into computers, and trying to understand what the main learning points and outcomes are. So it's really, really a lot of work has gone into making these courses, to videoing them, to adding graphics, to make them as appealing as possible and make them as fun as possible as well. So there's a lot of work gone into it. And this is the outcome. So you get we'll get digitally at the moment, it's sent to you, but we're also sending them out in the post, professional certificate. So at the end of the course, you will receive a professional certificate in customer experience. just to give you an idea of how the course is scheduled, we open modules 1, 2, and 3 first, and then after you've finished modules 1, 2, and 3, assessment 1 opens. Assessment 1, it's really straightforward. There are multiple choice assessments, and they're actually good fun. They're kind of drag and drop and multiple choice, A, B, C, D answers. And then after you finish and you get your grade for assessment 1, we open modules 4, 5, and 6. And after modules 4, 5, and 6, the final assessment opens, which is exactly the same sort of technique and layout as the first assessment, but it just covers modules 4, 5, and 6, whereas assessment 1 covers modules 1, 2, and 3. The assessments are very straightforward, they're very easy to understand if you've gone through the content, and there's absolutely nothing to be concerned about with the assessments. They're not difficult or tricky in any way. The course format is laid out with video lectures. As you've probably a lot of you seen, presentations, toolkits, different types of frameworks, including our own framework, downloadable documents, the assignments, which we're going to talk about a little more detail now in a minute. So the assignments are different to the assessments, but the assignments on the course are very, very valuable. And we have little revision assessments after every module, and then the 2 assessments that we discussed a little earlier. So Siobhan's just going to take you very briefly through the modules, why it's important and what's in each module. And the first 3 modules really, I suppose, are more of the fundamental theoretical aspects. And the second 3, 4, 5, and 6 are much more of the practical aspects of CX in your business.
Thanks, Julian. So yes, so I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of each of the modules. So in module 1, Michael gives you an introduction to the course. So he really talks you through the key definitions in customer experience, what it is, what it's not, some of the common misconceptions, such as the differences between customer service and customer experience that we talked about. And he introduced you, like I said, to those common themes and definitions that you will see throughout the course. So it's really setting the foundation for you in terms of what's to come, and he'll manage your expectations in terms of what's to come throughout the rest of the certificate. Then in module 2, I will talk to you about the benefits of CX and the impacts that customer experience has on a business and why companies should focus on it. So, we talk about retention, loyalty, staff motivation and engagement, the reduced costs Julian talked about there, where customers, if they're getting a really good experience, the experience is smooth, you've less complaints, less customer queries, and obviously less costs associated with all of that. And all of that, obviously, if you've less complaints and customer queries, you've probably happier staff and more motivated and more engaged staff as well. Obviously, increased acquisition and increased advocacy, customer advocacy, are some of the key benefits and impacts for your business. And all of that leads to that increased shareholder value as well. So that's module 2 and what we cover there. In module 3, you'll meet Kathy, and Kathy will bring you through the CX framework. So I was obviously talked you through the framework a few moments ago. Kathy goes into that in far more detail, a huge amount of detail. And she talks about how you can use that framework to deliver CX excellence. So she talks through each of the 6 emotional drivers and that key outcome. She gives you different examples, best in class global examples of companies who deliver on that framework, and what the skills and behaviors and attributes of each of those emotional drivers are, and how you can deliver on it, and how you can use it within your organization to measure, benchmark and implement CX excellence. Then in module 4, we have Kathy again, and this is an incredibly practical module. This is where Kathy brings you through a detailed guide in terms of how to carry out customer journey mapping. So she brings you through a typical journey, an example of journey, and you'll get some really good templates in there. So you've got your customer journey mapping template that you can use to apply to your own organization, and also templates and guides in terms of developing your own customer personas as well, which helps to make that customer journey mapping process more meaningful, and delivers better results in terms of your customer journey mapping as well. So that's customer journey mapping. And again, there's some really good tools and downloadable tips in there as well. Then we are into module 5. And in module 5, I cover CX in action, which is all about what does customer experience look like within the organization. So what needs to happen within the company? So it's all about, involving your not only your staff, but also involving outsourced partners, your digital or your outsourced partners, looking at digital innovation and the use of data within the organization, and also, I suppose, looking at measurement within the organization. We all are familiar with that saying, what gets measured gets done, and customer experience is no different. So measurement is a key part of customer experience. So we talk about the common metrics that are used and how they're calculated. Then we have module 6, and module 6, your final module, is where Michael, I suppose, ties it all together and gives you and introduces you to our 4-stage strategy wheel to implement CX excellence. So it starts with from getting buy-in to action planning, to embedding it within your company, and then leveraging and capitalizing on the benefits in terms of acquisition, retention, and increased shareholder value. So 6, quite different modules, giving you a really good understanding of customer experience. And that's just a whistle-stop tour. Some of you who've been through it, I'm sure will know how much more is in there. As Julian, when he talked about the process for designing this, there is literally thousands of learning outcomes in this. And I think, when you get through this, you will feel that, I suppose, your skills have increased, and it'll equip you to apply these learnings within your role as well.
Brilliant, thanks, Siobhan. So just the one of the most important parts of the course is the assignments, and you don't get graded on the assignments, and you don't need to send them back to us, but there are 15 of them scattered throughout the course in various modules, and you should just try and choose 1 or 2 of them over in modules 1 to 3, and then another 1 or 2 of them towards the back end of the course, and try and do them with colleagues. So if possible, even in these times of COVID and all of that, if you can even do them virtually together online, it makes such a difference. So you just see which ones you want to do, whether you want to talk about and just do an assignment on technology, or understanding measurement, or if you want to build a CX task force, you can put those together, and you can put those assignments together. We'll give you the sort of all of the information necessary to put the assignment together, and then you do it with colleagues, and it's so valuable, and the learning and the practicality of the learning is so important. So Siobhan's just going to take you through the very first assignment that we come to in module 1, and it's about recognizing CX excellence in others. And what it really does is it really opens your mind and puts you in the shoes of the customer, and opens your mind to how CX excellence works and how it affects others, and how advocacy works. So Siobhan, I think if I can
Thanks, Julian.
take us through this, it'd be really great.
Absolutely. So just to reiterate what Julian said, the assignments are so important. I suppose we place a lot of emphasis on the assignments. While they're not mandatory, you don't need to submit them back to us. They really do help to deepen your learnings. And this assignment 1 that I'm going to talk you through is really just, I suppose, a teaser. And this is the first assignment, so it's really just easing you into the certificate. There's lots of other assignments varying in complexity, but with this one, as Julian said, we want to really get you thinking about walking in your customer's shoes ultimately, and thinking about the framework in your own experiences. So what we've asked you to do here is think about your own experiences over the last while, and your own experiences that really had an impact on you and that you feel were remarkable. I suppose, so ones that were either so good or bad, as the case may be, that you commented on it to your friends, your families, or your colleagues. Unfortunately, sometimes we can remember the bad more so than the good, but what we want you to do is think about your experience, your day-to-day experience as a customer. So whether it's dealing with your bank, whether it is dealing with your utility providers, so your TV provider, your internet service provider, your gas, your electricity, or even if you went the last time you went to the supermarket. So think about those experiences And what we want you to do is to jot down how each interaction made you feel. But in doing that, we want you to use the framework. So if we just pop on to the next slide there, Julian, what we want you to do is think about how did that interaction meet or not meet each of these emotional drivers. So did you feel that you could trust the company? What did they do to build trust with you? Did they treat you as an individual and really show that they knew you and that they understood your needs? Did they make it easy for you? Did they show empathy for your circumstances? And I think, again, like I said, empathy is so incredibly important now more than ever. Did they show that they recognize the emotions you were experiencing and adapt the experience? Did they deliver on their promise? And if there was an issue, did they fix it? Did they fix it brilliantly, take ownership and accountability? And how did you feel as a result of your interaction with them? Did you feel, if they did amazingly, did you have, I suppose, that bond with them where you actually thought, I'm going to talk about these guys, I'm going to recommend them to my family, to my friends? And I suppose ultimately, do you think that those people acted on that? I know when I had to change my Wi-Fi a while back, and rather than going online to see what each organization said about themselves, I sent a WhatsApp message to my family and friends and said, who do you use and who do you recommend? And that's how a lot of us are doing business now. So I think it's really, really important that when we are dealing with an organization, that I suppose or when we were dealing with an organization, that we do have a really good experience that puts us in a frame of mind where we would recommend them to others, because there is that power of that unbiased opinion rather than what you're going to see on their own website. So that's the assignment. Again, it's just getting you to walk in your customer's shoes. It won't take that long. You can do it over the course of an hour. Just jot down your thoughts. If there's other people in your organization who are doing it, or other colleagues or friends who are doing this certificate as well, perhaps discuss your assignment with them. And certainly for some of the other ones, there's ones there that you can really work to involve your colleagues. Yeah. And a lot of the feedback that we've been getting from some of the other students who've done this before is that some of the assignments are actually helping them with their job, and in that there are things that need to be done within the organization that will help them in delivering on their role. So, and that's ultimately what we want from this assignment, from all of the assignments, is to support you in deepening your learnings and being able to apply it to your organization.
Absolutely. Thanks a million, Siobhan. That's brilliant. So, more mundane matters, the assessments, there's 2 assessments, as we said earlier, one halfway through the course and one at the end of the course, and you must pass both of them. So the pass mark is 60%, and to achieve a distinction, you must get an average of 90% across both assessments. So to give you an idea, that sounds very high, but to give you an idea, we award as many distinctions as we do regular certificates. So it's not difficult, and it's not a really high bar. So it'll give you some idea as to how kind of learner friendly, if I put it that way, the assessments are. They're very, very straightforward and very good. So that's the assessments, and these is just to give you a really brief idea of what people are saying. On the left there, Leia used to be called Bupa, and it's a Irish healthcare provider. And Tara did the certificate, and now she is undertaking the task of journey mapping in the company that they used to get other people to do outside the company. So she's able to help her team understand and walk in their members' shoes. So just what Siobhan was talking about there, this course is really helping people, and hopefully it will help you all in the same way. Before I get on to the questions, I know there's a couple of questions in already, but just to show you really briefly, this coffee shop, we have learners from the Delata Hotel group, and this coffee shop is part of that group. And this coffee shop we went into, myself and Michael Killeen actually went into it the other day while we were on our way to Salesforce. And we just noticed, we went in and there was an incredibly friendly barista. This is just to show you how customer experience can work in a very, very much everyday scenario. So this really friendly barista who was serving us our coffee had in front of her, I don't know if you can see there, but on the right hand side, she has a kind of box with, it's divided up, and there's lots of what we found out actually were loyalty cards in there. So there was hundreds of them. So we said to her, we said, why do you keep your loyalty cards of your customers there? Surely each customer keeps their own loyalty card on them. And she says, no, no, that's way too complicated. And they forget all the time to claim their free coffees. So what I do is I know every customer by name. When they come in, I pull out the loyalty card for each of those customers. I stamp it and I remind them when they need to get a free coffee. And it ticks so many of those emotional drivers to do with personalization, to do with trust, to do with empathy, to do with really understanding these problems. Everybody has had that problem of, oh my God, I've forgotten my loyalty card. I'm not going to get the stamp or whatever, you know. So it's just a really simple little idea and a really simple little story that shows you how it works. And then we did I put up a really simple LinkedIn post about this story, and it got like over 120,000 views and nearly 1,500 likes and comments. So I mean, it's phenomenal. And Jennifer, who's the girl in the photograph, was promoted because of it and went on to more senior positions in the company. So it's a really great little story about the success of customer experience. So that's really it. If you have any questions, I'd love to take them. I know there's a couple here, and I take the first one first. It's from Feras, and Feras is working in an organization that monitors multiple companies, Siobhan. So I'm going to give you this question. And the first part of the question really is, if you work with many different companies or many different, I suppose, suppliers or retailers or whatever, how do you manage CX across multiple organizations? And do you need to create separate journeys for each organization and each phase?
Yeah, I think it depends. You know, if from just looking at Farah's question, I assume that these are, so it could be one customer that is going through one journey, but that journey happens to incorporate a number of different companies who are delivering it. I could be wrong. That's what I'm taking from the question there.
That sounds like it to me.
Perfect. Faraz has confirmed that's correct. Thanks, Faraz. So what you need to do is, as twee as it sounds, you need to walk in your customer's shoes. So what is the typical journey for the customer? And yes, in the example that we use in customer journey mapping, it is looking at one journey with one specific customer, but the same principle applies regardless of how many companies are involved in that. What you might do is you might break that down into, use that same format, but break it down for each of the companies or each of the stages of the journey. So let's say if you have, you give an example of a tourist journey there. So if they're engaging with the airline in this part, an airline in this part of the journey, and they're engaging with the coffee shop in this part of the journey, then you need to map that from one to the other. But the stages of the journey should still flow through. How you look at the pain points should still be the same, and the process for generating those ideas should still be the same. If you've multiple companies, you'll probably have to do multiple workshops. So you might break it down and say, I'm going to look at this stage of the journey with that company today. Make sure that you have everyone who is involved, not just that company. And if there's handover touch points in between, make sure that you have all of those people who are at either end of those touch points involved in the workshop. So the same process will still work. A touch point versus a channel, how does the CX Academy define each? We go into, I suppose, more detail on that in terms of the diploma at that level. The channel, you're looking at online, you're in person, but with the touch points, I suppose, with customers can choose different touch points regardless of the channel that they use. And more often than not, what we're seeing now is that there's no one channel that you use, that you might start online and that the majority will, you'll start online, but you might end up going through the app, or you start in the app and you end up completing over the phone. So they're your individual touch points within a different channel, but like I said, there's no one size fits all. But we do go into channel harmony is one of the modules within the diploma, and we talk about omni-channel, we talk about octi-channel, and I suppose we also talk about how you can evaluate your channel performance, and use the template to do that as well. So again, that's probably more at the diploma level rather than the certificate.
And what you ask as well about the diploma is a far deeper dive into CX, and it is about 60 hours of direct learning. So it's over a 6-month period and 10 modules. And I can send you on, Ferris, the syllabus for the diploma after this meeting, just to help you to understand the difference between the two programs. And case studies, we do share case studies throughout the course, and I actually do have a new case study I'm working on for a company that is using the framework, so I will forward that on to you, Ferris, when I have it ready.
Yeah, so one of the case studies in the certificate, and there's lots of them, but I do know that Leah is one of them, and they're a company that we've worked with, and a number of, as you can have seen there, a number of their customers, or sorry, their staff members have done the certificate, and some I think may be doing the diploma as well. So there's plenty of case studies in there. You know, if you ask if there's companies that have used it, as Julian said, he's working on one, but if you want to talk about specific companies, or if you want to give us to give you a little bit more depth, that's probably an offline conversation that we're happy to have with any of you in terms of how best to implement it.
Brilliant. So we're here to support you. We're here to get your qualification through. Study at a steady pace, please, and keep going with it. It's incredibly rewarding, and customer experience is fascinating. It's all about emotions, and it's so interesting, and I love it. So hopefully we can impart some of that interest and some of that emotion into you, and hopefully it'll all work out really well. So talk to us at any stage about what you're going through, and talk to us about any issues you have, and let us know, and we will help with everything. So Siobhan, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you. And just again to reiterate what Julian said, we're here to help you. We want you to get the most out of the certificate. So if there's anything else we can help at any point, please do feel free to reach out. We're happy to have a phone call or discuss any queries that you might have. So best of luck to everybody, and thanks for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody.